A very warm welcome to all of you to Ayurvedic Healing and Beyond podcast. This is your host, Dr. Vignesh Devraj. In today's episode, we're going to discuss why the holistic healing approach is going to be the future of medical care or healthcare or wellness. Now, we all know that how important is the Western medicine, mainstream medicine, or allopathic science. To make it easier, I will call it allopathic system. It is very important for us because it is only because of the allopathic system our longevity is so much enhanced. The average lifespan of a human being, which was less than 40 few decades before, now we can quite confidently say that the average lifespan is above 60 or even 70. And we do know that there are people living above 80 and 90. So thanks to allopathic system, which is fantastic. Now, even though we call the allopathic system the mainstream medicine, but we see a change. We see more and more people relying upon holistic healing methodologies like Ayurveda, yoga, naturopathy. Now, why is that happening? Now, let's understand the basics of how the human system is working. Now, why I'm answering this question in this podcast is a few days ago when I was giving a lecture, one person asked me, Ayurveda is such an ancient system. Thousands of years ago, it was created. How is that going to be beneficial for a modern man living today? Now, isn't something that is quite outdated that we are going to use it today? So, the question's answer is also the answer to the question why are we going to make, the idea that why the holistic healing methodologies will be the future of healthcare. In Ayurveda, it is mentioned, this is one of my favorite parts of Ayurveda that I always mention. Every disease that a human being is suffering from can be classified into diseases of overconsumption or diseases of malnourishment. At one point of time, diseases of malnourishment was over the roof. And we read in history, people died because there was lack of food, lack of right resources and nutrition. And today we know that more and more people are dying because of overconsumption, because they are consuming too much. As we enhanced our technology to produce more food, our agricultural revolution, the food transportation, and our ability to preserve and store food, and the logistics with transport of food, when all of that increased, we see that we are having more issues of abundance than scarcity. And the other side of the story, our human body that we are living today with, the brain, the heart, the lungs, the kidneys, the immune system that we are living today with, is the same human body that was designed 200,000 years ago. Which means it was designed at a time when we didn't have so much of abundance with food. But even then, in Ayurveda, which was written centuries before, it was mentioned every disease can be classified into two types, diseases of overconsumption or diseases of malnourishment. And in that, it was mentioned diseases of overconsumption is something that is exclusive of the rich, of the kings, of the top people who are reporting to the king who had all the facilities. Whereas people who are working hard, the real laborers who had to do a lot of work and toil in the fields, where a lot of physical activities a part of the work, they didn't have so much of the diseases of overconsumption because they were physically active. But today, one of the statements I read somewhere, what was accessible to Bill Clinton in the 90s as a president of United States, the information and the resources that was accessible only to Bill Clinton, today even a common fisherman in India or Bangladesh has access to it through a smartphone. Because through the smartphone, the access of information that we have is quite phenomenal, something that we used to watch in James Bond movies in the 60s and 70s. I don't know about 60s, but definitely 70s and 80s. We know that it is a common reality right now. GPS, when we saw it in the 70s and 80s, we used to wonder, wow, that's how, I don't know if the future will ever come like that. But within few decades, GPS became a possibility. So what we are trying to say is, the last few decades, especially since the 1970s, 80s, and the beginning of 2000, we see such an exponential growth in the technological development. And this has led to a overwhelming response for our nervous system than any other time. Like, for example, we never had such a history of anxiety and depression like before. We never had so much of food, and people are having digestive disorders. We never had so much of safety like before. We live in one of the safest times when we look at history, but still people are finding it difficulty to fall asleep. They're having insomnia, they're having panic attacks. They are not able to just relax and rest. We have the best comfort than ever before, but still people are finding it difficult to feel safe. Now, where did we miss this bus? What is going on? And then on top of that, we are having so many diseases of unknown origin, even though we have one of the best, robust medical technologies that we have ever created and designed. We could do a genome decoding, we could do many organ transplantation, but there are so many diseases which are called idiopathic. We don't know what is the cause of this disease. Now, why is that? And today we call happiness or emotional stability as a disease of, only if you take Prozac or some antidepressant. Or to another extent, you can call depression as a Prozac deficiency. And you call many thyroid disorders as hormone replacement therapy deficiency. Only if you take these hormones, you are able to perform your levels of thyroid normally. Now, why are we having, on one hand, we see our medical technologies increasing, but on the other hand, we see a conflict there. Why is this conflict happening? Where did we miss this bus? And that bus that we missed is our body that was designed 200,000 years ago was designed to live in scarcity, was not designed to live in so much of abundance, was not designed to live in so much of comfort, and was never given access to so much of choices. So suddenly we are seeing a big transit how our human body is coping up to a new abundant world. And that is why we are having diabetes as one of the biggest issues. That is why we are having high blood pressure as one of the biggest issues. Stroke, cardiovascular diseases, cancer, hormonal imbalances, metabolic disorders. And today when we say something is wrong because of the pandemic, because of the COVID, what we mean is it is a disease that could potentially harm or threaten, or it could be a terminal disorder for someone who is having a metabolic disorder. And people with the metabolic disorders are considered to be the vulnerable. And why do we have so much of metabolic disorders? Again, our body was not designed to live in scarcity. Our body was not designed to live in so much of abundance. It is designed to live in scarcity. It's like cactus, which is a plant that is designed to live in desert. If you put the same plant in a rainforest, how will it be? It is not designed for that. In that aspect, where does Ayurveda come in? In Ayurveda, it is mentioned the root cause of many diseases can be overindulgence of your sense organs, or no indulgence, or no use, or misuse of your sense organs. And what are these sense organs? Like, it all depends of this overindulgence. We are eating too much than what we need. We are sleeping too much than what we need. We are thinking too much than what we need. This overindulgence or overactivity is something that is happening a lot in the last few decades. And that is why anxiety and depression has gone over the roof these days. And we are also understanding the concept of psychosomatic disorders. Psychosomatic, psyche, which is our mind, emotions, the spiritual energy, the energy that is beyond the mortal side, or something that we can see which has a form, and the soma, which is our body. So how much our emotions are impacting our body. And we all know when somebody is stressed, they are highly prone to have high blood pressure. When somebody is angry, again, the blood pressure can go up. And when you look at the mainstream medicine, which was designed to keep a person alive, to protect a person from death, when somebody is going to die, you take them to an ICU or an emergency room. It's immediately they break the possibility of him going to death, him or her going to death. And that is the power of the mainstream allopathic medicine. But right now, we have created so much of comfort, safety, certainty, and we are approaching the same way of keeping everyone alive. See, when something happens to the car, like an automobile. I recently read there is an industry called as car tuner. Car tuner is where you take your automobile to enhance your interiors, you make the optimize the engine performance, you put better audio system, you make the car a much better version of the same existence. You're totally upgrading every aspect of the car. You increase the mileage, you increase the speed, you put a better tires to it. So, and there is a huge industry to enhance and renovate an existing car. You take from the factory how the factory settings are, and then you completely renovate it, and it has a complete different feel. But at the same time, the DNA of the original car is still maintained. And you have a repair, and something goes terribly wrong, you take to the workshop. Now we see both of them, and the car tuning is a very new industry, whereas workshop has been something that has been happening. So when you have too much of accidents, when the car is completely damaged, then you definitely take it to a repair workshop. But when the car is functioning normally, when you take it to the car tuner, that's when the performance is enhanced. You don't take it to a workshop. So that's where today we live in a time when so many of the diseases that were eradicated don't bother us anymore. Smallpox, we are not worried about it. Polio, we are not worried about it. Plague, we are not worried about it. Some of the malnutrition diseases, we are not worried. Scurvy, it's history. After we discovered the power of vitamin C and we did the research, we understood what vitamin C deficiency can do to people and how it can lead to death. We understood it can be just topped up and the person can avoid scurvy and other many illnesses. And usually in ancient times, when people were on ship for a very long period, they were afraid if they would die of scurvy. And now we don't have to worry about that anymore. In such situations, when we know that such kind of deaths are not a possibility anymore, today we are more worried about deaths because of cardiovascular in nature. We are worried about stroke. We are worried about cancer. Why is that? And why are many of the diseases called idiopathic, the diseases of unknown origin? That's because we are not understanding the basics of the human body, which again, we are designed to live in scarcity. And this scarcity, what it means is, today, many of the diseases are happening because of overindulgence. In Ayurveda, we call it asatmya indriyartha samyoga. Asatmya, the word satmya means that which is wholesome, and asatmya means that which is not wholesome, that which is not aligned with the energy of your body. Indriya artha samyoga. Indriyartha means the combination of your sense organs with the object that which is being used. For example, eyes gives us the vision, and if you're having too much of screen time, that which is beyond what our eyes can actually cope up, it is actually ati yoga, excessive use. And today high screen time is analyzed, and we understand what high screen time can do to a person. It can lead to mood disorders, it can lead to depression, anxiety, and it can also hamper a person's sleep. The moment sleep is hampered, a lot of other things can also be hampered. And today we are learning about circadian rhythm. So in such a situation, where we live in a time of overconsumption, and the possibilities of overconsumption is very high. Just the previous episode, I did a talk on how to overcome and how to stay healthy during the festive times, because we all know during the festive times how much of food and abundance is there, because of which people fall sick during the months of January and February. And that is why when you approach a holistic healer or an Ayurvedic doctor or a Vaidya or an Ayurvedic practitioner, what is actually happening is they sit and explain to you what it means to live healthy. Today, if you go to a doctor, me being a doctor, I can say this, and definitely if you visit an allopathic doctor, they don't have so much time to sit and explain to you. If you're going to a diabetologist with diabetes, maybe they would give you some diet chart. But let's say you go to a GP and you're having high blood sugar, there is a high possibility that your sugar levels are high. He would just briefly mention you have to go to gym, or maybe you have to walk more and reduce sugar, and that's it. And then he would give a prescription for maybe a metformin, maybe something to regulate the blood sugar or glycemic index, and that's it. It would take less than 5 to 10 minutes, and it is given, and you take it and you go back. But The same food is there in the hotels that you visit. Same food is there when you visit your friends. So how do you deal with all of that? Even though my doctor said, but it is very difficult to perform it. So it's actually the doctor is writing, but he's not able to take time and invest time to understand how to change the mindset of the patient. Now, that is where lifestyle health coaches, Ayurvedic doctors, Ayurvedic practitioners, Vaidyas, they all come into the picture of taking time to explain to them. This is how you have to approach, because when you know the why this is creating this problem, then it's much easier to come out of it. But the problem is we don't really invest time. Many people say, I don't think I can come out of this, the mainstream medicine, diabetic medicines, or high blood pressure medicines, or a beta blocker, because I don't think I can change my lifestyle. And the reason they say they can't change their lifestyle is they just don't know how. And even if they did, they think it's too painful. There's always a, if you want to change a behavior, you need to change the incentive. And how to change that incentive is what a Ayurvedic practitioner or a Vaidya does, helping them to understand the beauty of living healthy. And that is why in Ayurveda, the first chapter of Ashtanga Hridayam is actually Dinacharya, the lifestyle, the routine, surrender to the circadian rhythm. And how to take them, it's like there is a, every Vaidya, there is a health partnership that is going on there. He takes time to help them understand how to take it. And it's a partnership for the rest of the life. Somebody is invested in you being healthy. And today, you see, there is always a beneficiary in when you are falling sick and somebody is going to benefit from that. That creates a lot of doubt. And that is why many people are afraid of the pharmaceutical lobby that is creating so much of fear mongering. Because when more people are sick, somebody is getting rich. So there is a possibility to manipulate things and the surroundings to create that. On the other hand, there's a story of a minister being asked by the king, what can I do to keep my kingdom very healthy? So he said, we have to keep the doctors' remuneration dependent on how healthy the kingdom is. If they are getting paid only when people are falling sick, then there is going to be a lot of problem. Now let's understand the basics. When the population is sick, the doctors are going to be rich. That's a very dangerous situation. But when the population is healthy, then the doctors are going to be paid. What a beautiful situation that is. It's a win-win situation. And that's why you see today a lot of turmoil, because hospitals, they invest a lot of money. And when the patient is there without much problem, and who are they going to go back to get the money to pay to their banks or the investments or the returns of the investors? So it leads a huge scope of manipulation and corruption to happen. And that is why so many people don't trust the healthcare system today. And that's why people say it's a sick care today, not a health care or a wellness system. Now we have to change this incentive, and that is where holistic healers, Ayurvedic practitioners are more and more coming as in demand. And I see, me being an Ayurvedic doctor, I have been with many allopathic doctors, sat with them how they treat. Some doctors are fantastic with their diagnosis and they really help people with problems. And sometimes symptomatic relief is so important, because that symptomatic relief will be a difference between almost death but alive, and being alive and making your normal life proper, functional. So I see a lot of that possibility what the mainstream doctors are doing. And the issue is today, many of the doctors, they are not really taught much about nutrition, apart from calories, how the carbohydrates are digested, how the proteins are digested. But the possibility of understanding how the food can impact the emotions, the health, and the life, and the vitality and the immunity of a patient, they really don't take much time, because they are so focused on how to keep a person alive. Keeping a person alive, like what I said about the repair workshop, and keeping a person at the best health, which a car tuner does, are two different brain and two different approach. One is like a sprinting and one is like running for marathon. You train completely different. That is why if you want to enhance the functioning of your car, you don't take it to the repairman, you take it to the car tuner. And today we don't have crippling experiences. Yes, there could be some experiences. Definitely you need to take the emergency approach. But for example, with thyroid, many are feeling that you can never come out of this tablet. It's a deficiency of these tablets that is creating this thyroid imbalances. Definitely, we know how much circadian rhythm, the right nutrition, eliminating of the excess mucus load in the body, where we do panchakarma therapy in Ayurveda, shamana therapy in Ayurveda, how this can make the difference. Now, the whole idea, that is what is called as the holistic approach. It's not just prescription of a tablet or a pill, but taking time to make the patient understand what it means to live healthy, what it means to wake up on time, what it means to going to sleep early, what it means to eating on time, what it means to eating healthy, how to avoid the unhealthy stuff. If you're having cravings, how to come out of those cravings. If you're having unhealthy emotional hygiene, what can we do to enhance your emotional stability and not just popping up pills for that. If you're feeling anxious, anxiety is one of the best things that is a strength of a human being, because you're concerned about something, but just that we don't know how to deal with that situation. And instead of focusing on how to deal with that situation, we get so lost in that fear, that hormones are being induced because of fear, so we are not able to think. So how can we reach that area? If somebody is anxious, it's because they are extremely concerned about something. But how to turn around that energy? That energy is the same energy. It's like the electricity that can kill a person, can also light a bulb, can also transform the situation around us. It's the same energy that is creating anxiety. And that's why they say creativity and anxiety are the two sides of the same coin. Creativity is where you find solutions, where you are able to innovate, and anxiety is you're getting stuck. You're not able to understand how to deal with this energy. Now, this is where a Vaidya's mindset comes when it comes to changing a person's ability to recover. Many people don't know how to change their patterns. And holistic healing is an approach to make them aware, why are you in this pattern and how to change that pattern. Sometimes there could be genetic predisposition. Sometimes it could be just a pattern we are unconsciously following. Sometimes we just felt comfortable and didn't know that this is creating a problem, like the frog in a boiling water, how to come out of that. So all of that being understood, that is where holistic healing is going to be the future. To a great extent, an Ayurvedic Vaidya's duty is to make them understand where they have to change their lifestyle and why they have to change their lifestyle and what are the benefits. Like, I was always told by one of my teacher, you can never take the, you can only take the horse to the water, but you can never make it, force it to drink. But then I always believed in this. And that's why allopathic system is doing so well, because it's so easy. It's a symptomatic relief. But today I realize, because the allopathic system, after taking those tablets, they're having many other problems. Recently, I had a patient. She was taking a lot of allopathic medications for her depression and panic attacks. And that led to chronic constipation, and that led to many of the gut disorders. So the prescriptions of the psychiatrist led to some gastroenterology problems. And when she visited a gastroenterologist, he said, unless you deal with, get rid of these psychiatric medications, there is nothing we can do, because your gut health and your psychiatric medications are correlated. And when she goes back to the psychiatrist, he said, sorry, but if you come out of this, you're going to deal with the panic attacks and anxiety and depression. So we don't know what to do. And they both are like washing off their hands. And when they come for Ayurveda, you have to explain to them how to come out of this, and you give them a roadmap. Maybe it may not happen within 1 or 2 weeks. Maybe you need like 6 months or even up to 1 year. But slowly we can come out of it. Maybe getting out of these medicines immediately can create a lot of problems. So we have to take it step by step. So on one hand, we have to improve their emotional way of looking at things, emotional response to things. What are the triggers, like understanding the doshas, and then slowly improving their digestive nutrition, digestive power, nutrition, changing their routine. And it's a step-by-step process, not like a overnight change. Like I have a pain, I take a painkiller, it's gone. It's a lot of work that needs to be done. And that's why there is an Ayurvedic doctor or a Vaidya is so much invested in the health of the person. He is getting paid for keeping a person healthy. And he is not getting paid when people are sick. And that's the beauty of being associated with Ayurveda, or even things like yoga, naturopathy, holistic areas. That is where how powerful it is to enhance the quality of your life. Now, coming to this aspect, where can we take it? So, when you are having so much of diseases because of metabolic disorders or hormonal discrepancies, in here, when you put the foundation of routine, when you put the foundation of digestive health, when you put the foundation of nutrition and emotions, when you put the foundation of exercise, movement, sometimes meditations are given. When all of these are put together, and that's when the health is a natural product. And this is where sometimes when the horse is coming to the pond, our duty as a Vaidya is to make the horse thirsty. Because when the horse is thirsty, it will just drink. But when the horse is not thirsty, that's where this statement applies. You can only bring the horse to the pond, but not make it drink. But if you make the horse thirsty and bring it to the pond, it will naturally drink. And that's what me as a Vaidya who does it in my consultations. When I get patients coming and saying, I'm diabetic, I'm having this, or I'm having thyroid issues, or I'm having Hashimoto's and I'm taking these tablets, and I don't know if there is a way out because nobody told me there is a way out. And I think this is what I have to live with it for the rest of my life, or keep on increasing the dosages as it gets worse. I tell them there is a possibility. But immediately when you tell them this is the possibility, they think, okay, this is going to be Herculean task for me to change this kind of a lifestyle. But let's start from the basics. If you're going to sleep at 1 o'clock, let's make it 12 o'clock and then slowly make it 11:30 and then slowly make it 10 o'clock. Within a span of 2 months, if you can make it to 10 o'clock, that itself will add up to your health. And then if you're eating too much sugar, how can we reduce that? So this accountability of a holistic health practitioner is going to be the future of medicine in future, because we live in so much of abundance. What we need is not tablets. What we need is elimination, minimalism, sometimes abstinence. Now that is where Ayurveda comes into the picture. And that is why therapies like Panchakarma, where you go to do the detox, it helps to remove it, the toxins and the toxic load. And where burnout, where you need mental resilience, and that comes with disconnection from too much of overwhelmed decisions that are being taken. So how to reach there? If you listen to my course Balancing the Mighty Vata, where I talk about how to restore the balance of your nervous system, because in Ayurveda the concept of vata goes in there. So this is where holistic healthcare is going to be the future. And I feel, looking at so many patients coming to me after where they tried so much of the mainstream medicine and they are not able to deal with it. They want a second opinion. I am on a mission. I want to create a place where people feel safe, what the doctor is suggesting, or the health coach or a practitioner is suggesting, and they don't have to worry about second opinions, because they see that this person is invested in me getting healthy with the least investment required and the best possible way to go. And there is a possibility of the future, and sooner or later we have to get there. And that is the beauty. See, we live in one of the best times of humanity. Even though, yes, if you switch on the news, you're going to see a lot of bad news. But when you take the history, we are living in one of the best times. Never before women could have so much of freedom. Never before we had so much access to wonderful information. Never before we had so much access to healthy food. And in all of this, yes, we do have a lot of bad food, junk food. Yes, women are still not safe in some parts of the world. Yes, things are not safe in some parts of the world. But when you look at history, when you look at a few centuries before, now we are living in one of the best times. But in order to make use of that, we need to learn to use the resources in the right mindful, conscious ways. And that is where integrating Ayurveda comes into our life. I have a great food, but only if my digestion is good, I can enjoy it. I have a great mattress. Only if my sleep hygiene is good, I can sleep well. I have fantastic family. Only if my emotions are good, I'm able to interact and enjoy the connection that a family or friends can provide. That is where Ayurveda comes into picture. I'm creating an online mastermind program for those of you who are already Ayurvedic doctors or practitioners or medical doctors who wants to integrate Ayurveda into your practice. Do check the show notes of this podcast and you'll find the details. And you can also book a discovery call with me to see if this mastermind is the right program. Here, I'm going to train the participants of the mastermind how to integrate Ayurveda into your healing practice to your clients or patients. We are going to deal with gut health. We are going to deal with nervous system. We are going to deal with what it means to be a holistic healing methodology person. We're going to deal with many of the hormonal disorders that we are going to that we are facing, how to change that. We're going to deal with autoimmune disorders, what Ayurveda's take on that, what can be done to this, and Ayurvedic nutrition. What makes, because nutrition is a very controversial topic. The same person who wrote a book would come up with a new book saying my previous book was wrong. So in such a situation, is the raw food the best for me, or should I eat cooked food, or should I be vegan? Should I take paleo? Should I take keto? So many questions, because I, as a person who is the physician in a retreat where people around the world comes, I saw a lot of patients with different nutritional patterns and cultures that they are having and what it is creating. So definitely there is no universal rule for this, that this is the nutritional advice that is applicable for everyone. It will change. And that is where the concept of constitution, prakriti, the dosha analysis, all of this comes into picture. So over a period of 6 months, we're going to deep dive into it. It's a very intensive program. And after the completion of this online programs, you get an opportunity to come and work with me for 1 month at my retreat for internship, where you get the hands-on experience to see how the patients are going some of the recoveries, and you see the back end work, how the therapists are working, how the yoga teachers are working, how the nutrition is working, how the ambience and the setting of with nature is all collaborating to improve the quality of the health through holistic aspect. So the program is called Ayurvedic Healing and Beyond Mastermind. You can check the show notes for the details. Thank you all. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. Thank you.